உள்ளூர் உலக செய்திகளின் பார்வையாய் உங்களின் தேடலாய் விடுகின்றது காற்றலையில் வணக்கம் கனடா. காலை 9 மணி முதல் திங்கள் முதல் வெள்ளி வரை சமகால செய்திகள், உள்ளூர் உலக நடப்புகள், செவ்விகள், போட்டிகள் என செய்திகளின் பார்வையாய் செவிகளின் தேடலாய் கனடிய தமிழ் வானொலியின் வணக்கம் கனடா. கனடா
So good morning, and as we explain to our listeners, we're going to have the member from the Conservative Party just bring the issue. So, so as many of us are aware, and we are part of it, the Tamil Heritage Month in January, there are events happening all across the country on this particular month. And on behalf on this event, there's a message released by the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party in Ontario, Tim Hudak, yesterday. So to share the message and on also other issues, to discuss other issues, we have on air the member of Provincial Parliament for Prince Edward Hastings, Todd Smith is with us. Good morning, Todd.
And good morning, Vanakkam, to all our Tamil Canadians in the area. It's great to be with you this morning, and all the best as we celebrate Tamil Heritage Month.
Yes, and as I mentioned to the listeners, yesterday the Conservative Party released a message from the leader. So can you share with us the message for the Tamil community from the leader?
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much for the opportunity. And on behalf of Tim Hudak, who is our Ontario PC leader, he extends his best wishes, Vanakkam, and warmest wishes to everyone celebrating the Thai Pongal and the Tamil Heritage Month activities that, as you say, are going on throughout the month of January. Over the last few decades, Ontario's Tamil community, especially in the Greater Toronto area, has grown tremendously and made countless contributions to our province. In addition to a strong entrepreneurial spirit that's created many jobs, Tamil Canadians have helped our communities through campaigns to encourage donations to Canadian Blood Services and Sick Kids Hospital. I know your hearts swell with pride when you look at the achievements of your fellow Tamil Canadians like tennis player Sonia Jayaseelan, cricketer Sanjayan Tharisingham, and Olympic table tennis player Pratibhan Peter Paul. We're all proud and thankful for the many economic and cultural contributions made by Tamil Canadians to our great province and our country. And that's why the Ontario PC Party will be reintroducing the bill to officially declare January Tamil Heritage Month as soon as the legislature resumes in February. So on behalf of the Ontario PC Party, I wish you a happy Thai Pongal. May your days be filled with joy, good luck, and prosperity. And that's signed Tim Hudak, the Ontario PC leader. So it's a pleasure to present that on his behalf, and I know it received wide coverage yesterday in a lot of the newspapers and in your media in the Tamil community.
And also, you're also coming a long way from close to Ottawa to attend the event in this evening as well.
Yeah, I look forward to doing that, and actually I've met so many Tamil Canadians over the last year in my relatively new role as citizenship and immigration critic for the Ontario PC Party and chair of our community outreach team. I've spent many days over the last year. Many of them were 30-degree days, and that would be on the plus side, 30-degree days in Scarborough-Guildwood, of course, in the by-election with our friend Ken Karupa, part of the Tamil Canadian community last summer, and met so many members of the Tamil Canadian community that I really wanted to make sure that we had the Tamil Heritage Month bill back before the legislature on the very first day that the legislature is sitting. That bill was introduced by the Liberals in the last Parliament, but was lost on the order paper when Dalton McGuinty, then Premier, prorogued Parliament. So the bill and the legislation that would have created a Tamil Heritage Month in Ontario was lost, and for the last year has sat dormant. So it's one of the things that I've made a priority and that Tim Hudak has made a priority. We want to get that back before the legislature so that we can officially recognize January as Tamil Heritage Month in Ontario.
So on this day, it's a very happy news for the committee that the party will lead back the legislation again, take the issue with the legislative once it's back in sitting, and make sure that the Heritage Month is recognized by the province as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's one of those things. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I mean, there was an opportunity, obviously, over the last year for the Liberal government to reintroduce that bill, but for whatever reason, they haven't chosen to do that. We feel it's a priority, especially with the growing Tamil community in the GTA, that we recognize this is a very important time of year. We just celebrated our New Year, and I know this is a very joyous and celebratory time for Tamil Canadians, especially next week as the New Year festivities really start to heat up, and hopefully the weather heats up a little bit too.
Yep, and as you said, you have a very active dialogue with the committee for a while now, and you listen to their concerns as well. And as a party, listening the concern of the Tamil Canadians, what are the issues you see issues very priority for the committee and need to be addressed by the party?
Well, there are many things, and we applaud the role that our federal cousins, the Conservative federal government, have played in taking a strong stance against some of the human rights atrocities that we've seen in Sri Lanka, and their boycott of the Commonwealth Summit that occurred I guess last year now, because we are in 2014, but it was a strong statement that was made by our federal cousins. There have been so many members of the Tamil Canadian community that are still waiting for answers, and it's been going on 5 years now that many members of the community have been waiting for answers on their relatives back in their home country, and they just haven't been able to access that information. I know it's created a lot of stress, a lot of concern, and as a result, some mental health issues, especially in the senior communities in the Tamil community. Mental health, of course, is an issue that we're facing on a broader level across the province, and I have to give proper credit to our deputy leader, Christine Elliott, who comes from just Whitby, Oshawa area, so not far from the GTA. She's played a very important role in improving mental health access in Ontario, but of course, when you're running deficits like we've seen in the province of Ontario, there have to be cutbacks, and the Liberal government has not managed our finances well, and that's the understatement of the morning. We need to do a better job so that we can provide the type of mental health treatment that people need. And I know a lot of the Tamil community, especially the seniors, as we mentioned, are really struggling with the fact that they can't get the information from back home regarding their relatives and the situation, of course, that's occurring in Sri Lanka, and we would love to help them in getting the treatment that they need.
As you said, the committee is long for looking for some senior homes and as well as some community centers where the people can gather and address their issues and also get help, and as you address that these are the issues they also discuss with you, and you mentioned them as well. And also, we are just as you said, is a new dawn now in 2014, and the year also, there is an expectation in political circle. There's a high possibility we may face a spring election. And if that's the case, and if that's elections happen this year, what are the issues as progressive conservatives put in front of the voters? These are the issues important for the Ontarians and need to be addressed.
Well, there are a number of them, and I guess as we spoke about just moments ago, the broader problem, or the bigger problem, is the fact that the Liberals have not managed taxpayers' dollars well at all. And that has created strain in so many different areas, and it's really handcuffed the government in what government is supposed to be doing, and that's providing services for people who actually have needs. It's handcuffing government when they're trying to build transit, because when you're running a $14 billion deficit, it makes it very difficult for the government to then finance a new subway line out to Scarborough. So Tim Hudak and the Ontario PC Party have a plan to rein in government spending, for one, get our spending under control, and also stimulate our economy. And we've laid out a number of white papers, we've been calling them Paths to Prosperity, on how we can get Ontario, and I know when many of the members of the Tamil community moved to Ontario over the last decade or more, Ontario was the destination of choice in Canada. It's where people coming from abroad, whether it was from Sri Lanka or whether it was from India or Pakistan or anywhere around the world, the reason that they came to Ontario was because we had our act together 10 years ago. That has slipped away from us, and we are no longer the leader in Canada. We have to get back to creating jobs. We have to make sure that our economy is moving ahead, creating jobs so that newcomers to the province and that my children and your children are able to stay in Ontario and get jobs. So we've come up with an agenda for growth, our paths to prosperity, on how we're going to get Ontario back on track, creating jobs, getting our economy moving again so that we can provide the health care that we need, and that would include the mental health treatment that I spoke of earlier. That would also include getting our transit moving ahead, which is a huge issue, I know, in the greater Toronto area, and making sure that we have the best education so that our children are able to get jobs when we actually create them.
Yes, you mentioned many issues. As the weeks comes by, then we're going to join again and discuss each issue in detail. And before we closing, and I heard there's a Pongal event by the party soon in Scarborough. So if you can share some of the information with the listeners, they also can come and say hi to all of you.
Yeah, sure. So that event is going to happen. It's a luncheon that we're planning for next week. It's January the 19th. So I know the New Year's celebrations are actually on January 14th and 15th, but they'll be extending throughout the week next week. And we're very pleased to host an event, the Ontario PC Party, on the 19th. And if we could, I would really appreciate the opportunity to get back to you next week one day and perhaps fill you in on exactly who is going to be there, what's going to transpire, but it will be in Scarborough on the 19th, which is next weekend, a weekend from this one. So we look forward to hosting that event. Our Ontario PC leader, Tim Hudak, will be there, along with a number of our caucus members and potentially some candidates as well. And we're very proud to have a number of Tamil Canadians running for us in the elections, which may be coming up this spring.
And as you mentioned, on Pongal Day as well, on 14th, we will take you on air again to wish the people on that day. And on that day, we can also, as you said, in the coming week, we can share more information on the event place and other details with the audience. And we thank you taking time to share that information. And in the coming weeks, we will join you again to discuss more issues related event before the next election.
That's very much appreciated, and I know this is a joyous time of the year, and I look forward to meeting with a lot of your listeners tonight at that event in Markham.
Thank you, Todd, and for your time, and the Tamil Canadian Radio and the listeners. Wish you well on this new year.
Thank you very much. All the best to you and your listeners as well.
Thank you.